So the agenda for today, so just a welcome. So welcome to any guests and new members that have joined us today. Feel free, put your hand up. It's a great club, so throughout the day, if you have any questions, just put your hand up and yeah, we'll get to you. So we'll start off with just a general chat. We'll talk about swarms coming into September. Varroa update, so some emails from Tonya and a bit of a chat from John, our Varroa club officer. Guest speaker today, so we've got Barry and Manuela over here. So they're going to talk about Barry's hive hinge system. We'll have an open floor meeting, so question and answers, and then we'll finish off with raffles. So while we're talking about raffles, there's still plenty of tickets and spots available. Put your hand up and just make your way to the back and they'll happy to take your money. There's plenty of prizes on the table. I don't want to win them all. So just general today, so just apologies from Kate Livock, our president, Tom and Paul club members. Anyone else have any other apologies? We're all good. So just our introduction to beekeeping courses. So they're full for October and November. We don't have a meeting. Make sure that's up on the screen. Make sure we don't have a meeting in December due to our club Christmas party and holidays. And bookings for January are filling fast. So if you know of anyone wanting to learn about Varroa and beekeeping, just advise them to get in quickly. Lynn has re-advised me that Varroa treatments are still available from the club. So we do have the three main ones, Bayervol, Apigard and Formic Pro. With them, if you're purchasing them, you will get an information sheet and you're required just to put an email down and we'll send you all the data on those three treatments. And just remember your requirements with them. Sorry. So there is a Varroa treatment table. I'm pretty sure you can download it. So that'll tell you what you can and can't do with each treatment. So some treatments you have to take your honey off and some treatments are fine. Some treatments have withholding periods. So just make sure you follow the instructions to the letter. So just and talking about Varroa, so there's still Varroa gear for sale with the club. The club wants to help out everyone. You've got your wash kits still available. I think everyone should have one by now. Rubber rings for your wash kits. I'll go and talk about them later on. They're pretty important, I think. Drone foundation, the club does have green drone frames available. So now's a good time to get them into your hive so they can start drawing them out before you start seeing Varroa. There's also drone foundation if you wish to go that way. And uncapping forks, which are vital. Probably the number 2 tool in my toolbox. And we have queen cages if you want to cage your queen and just stop it from just basically stop it from laying eggs for a period of time to get your Varroa control under thing. Swarms. So I was talking to Lynn. Lynn is just on the phone constantly. So she's had a total, she said, of 17 calls for swarms in the last 2 weeks. So if you want a swarm or if you want to be involved with swarm catching, have a chat to a committee member. It's crazy. So even this morning, Lynn had 2 earlier on. So there's swarms everywhere. And if you are going swarm collecting, take a Varroa alcohol wash and check your swarms before you're moving them. Last thing you want to do is take an infected hive with Varroa into your clean apiary. Find a beekeeper. I've got a site with Varroa, so pretty well if I get Varroa, they go to that site. Don't be taking them to a clean site. You're just reinfecting. Good question though. So like I said, swarm season is here. Please make sure we're continuing to check our hives for our numbers of your bees and preparing for the upcoming honey flow. Also doing your Varroa checks. Like I said, Lynn has been receiving plenty of calls for swarms. They're everywhere. And also let us know if you wish to be contacted to get the calls for swarms. Or earlier, like I said, Varroa control, make sure we test before we're moving. Don't move Varroa hives into clean areas. All good. Any questions? Sorry. Yes.
So let's say hypothetically, if you were going out there and you did get a swarm and you did test and it did have a Varroa, what would you do?
Find someone with a Varroa site. Like I said, I've got a Varroa site, so yeah, for me it's good. If they're clean, I take them to a clean site. If they're dirty, they go straight to a Varroa site. Yeah, I'm lucky. But yeah, just drop them at Lynn's place. No, you just got to be prepared. Have somewhere that if you do get Varroa, that you've got an option to take them. There's no good picking a swarm up. Hey, I've done a Varroa check and now they've got Varroa. Then you're ringing and saying, where can I take them? So, it won't be a problem in 6-12 months. It'll be everywhere, but at the moment, if we can stop the movement, that's the big thing. We're all good. I'm probably rushing through it. So just a Varroa update. So this is an email from Tonya, our Varroa Development Officer for the DPI. So she sent this through to Kate. This is as of Wednesday. I'll have to... Yeah. So hi guys. Just a quick update on where Varroa is at the moment. Please note that south of Caloundra, north of Maroochydore, and out west, there's pink zones on the surveillance map that are now connecting Varroa, and it's spreading fast. I can see in the background of B123 and the numbers of negative reports we are getting each month around our area, and unfortunately, it's not much. This suggests that either people aren't monitoring or that they are monitoring and not uploading their results. The threat. So Varroa is a huge threat. The threat is real. Varroa is already here, and if people aren't regularly monitoring, they could lose their hives without realising it. I really appreciate your help in sharing this and sharing the seriousness of this with our members. Personally, I don't want them to lose their hives and care about beekeeping and keeping their bees safe just as much as they do. Also, as a BDO, I don't want them to spread to a wider community. I do. It's too small. I should have blown it up. Had to fit on the screen. So yeah, Tonya can't be with us today. She's at another bee club at lunchtime. So basically, just check. So check your bees for numbers coming into spring. Check your bees for Varroa control. And yeah. So yeah, we've got Barry, who's going to talk later about his method of Varroa control and how it makes it easier on him. And yeah, it'll work out for our members. So basically it just goes through onto our newsletter. So in the newsletter Lynn put out this month, it's just basically saying that it's detections have been found in Maroochydore and near Warwick. I was notified this morning by a member that Varroa is also at Chevelin. So I'm happy to say it, not happy to say it, but I've got Varroa behind Corwood Race Park and then that bushland there. Don't have it at Glenview, but a member said it was already at Chevelin. So it is in the area, and it's only it's only time when we will all get it. But if we can stop the spread and just be vigilant. And as Tonya said, when you're checking, just report it. So.
Sorry, Greg, just to clarify, it says please no moving of bees from Varroa
Yes.
Unless it's a swarm, you move it to a...
Move it in, don't move it out. Yeah. So the site I have, it's got 35 beehives. I do have a pollination contract, but I can't fulfill it because I can't move those bees. So they're stationary now until Varroa is in the area. So I'm really wary that even when I leave that bee yard, I'm blowing off bees, trying to not get a straggler. So, yeah, I don't want to move it, so it's just more work. It's a lot more work. I'm using oxalic acid. It's pending approval. So a lot of the commercial blokes are using it. I'm just finding it's cheap. I can't go down the road of Apigar and the expensive treatments, not for the amount of hives I have. But you know, if you're a backyarder and you've got 2 or 3 hives, it's probably the best treatment. So, but yeah, like I say, just make sure you download the Varroa treatment table and follow the instructions. If you're going to use some of those treatments, there is a withholding period. It's keeping me numbers low, but it's a lot of work. I'm checking them every fortnight. So. Rightio, I'll pass it on to John. Oops.
Good morning, everyone. My job's made a lot easier because much of what I was going to say has been said. And read the newsletter. I've got a column in the newsletter which brings you up to date on things and highlights the important aspects of current situation. Last year I spoke about the colony loss survey, COLOS, and which was completed and the results are out. It's time again to do the colony loss survey, the COLOS survey. The purpose of it is to identify the challenges that beekeepers have had over the previous 12 months, particularly with losing hives, and what those challenges are, and hopefully to provide information to all the beekeepers about how they might manage these losses, because we don't have the overall details of what's happening in the country. These surveys are done all over the world, and Australia took it up the first time last year. The survey is completely confidential. Should take a recreational beekeeper about 7 minutes. And the information is valuable. Go to just Google COLOS, COLOS.au. I'll see if I can get this working and I'll put it up on the screen later. There is a QR code you can use as well to get onto the survey. That was my main important message, apart from what Grant has already mentioned about the urgent need for you all to regularly test hives. The natural spread is occurring throughout the Sunshine Coast, and it's only a matter of time, everyone will have it. And it's very clear cut from New South Wales experience that early diagnosis will give you the best opportunity to save your hive. And the other thing, drone uncapping, whenever you see drone cells, uncap them, because the experience from down south as well is that you might find it in your drone uncapping and it'll be negative in your alcohol wash. The mites are very easy to see on the white drone larvae. There's some recommendation that you should keep the material that you've uncapped and run it through an alcohol wash as well, as an alternative. Yeah, and it is important now. Now's the time in this build-up phase to get your drone comb ready for when you've got varroa. Using drone comb, part of a mechanical management, in addition to your chemicals, will keep. If you can remove more than 40% of the mite load of your hive, so you can keep your mite load at a reasonable level for the chemical treatment when you need it. You can use the green comb, the green frames, but you have to pre-treat them with wax. You either paint it on or rub wax as you would the surfboard. You can also, I've had a slide to show you, you can use a blank frame, but you put a wooden piece across the midpoint, and the bees will make drone comb above and below that. That's the long way around. It's quicker to it's quicker to use drone foundation, but get either your foundation. If you're going to use foundation, you don't need to put them in the hive. If you're going to use the green frames, prepare it with wax and put it in the super. You might get a load of honey to take off before you get varroa. And then just keep it aside for your brood box when you need it, and you put it towards the outside of the brood box where it's cooler. I think that's about all I wanted to say. Are there any questions on biosecurity matters?
Could you just go over that green, how you manage that whole green thing again?
This thing,
Yes.
well, you have to paint the surface of it with wax.
So you take out, I don't know where you put it in the...
If you want to prepare it with drone comb,
Yeah,
you can put it in a honey super.
right.
Now, well, in this build-up phase, when it comes to varroa, you put the fully drawn comb towards the outer edge of the second frame in or on each side. The bees will then, the queen will lay drone eggs, and drone larvae will, and the varroa mite will preferentially go into that.
And then you can, and that's where you take that out.
Yes, I wasn't going to go into all the details, but the timing is critical. You must keep very accurate records when you put it in. You've got to time it to pull it out before they start hatching, because when they hatch, you've got a massive load of varroa mite.
And then you destroy it.
Then you destroy it. You can freeze it. You can bury it. Put in if you can put it in domestic rubbish bins. Some people say feed it to the chooks, but yes. But it's probably, don't forget when you pull it out, you've got a hell of a lot of varroa mite which is active and living in the frame, so you want to get rid of it all. Anything else?
Freeze them for 48 hours.
That'll certainly kill them up, yes. There's another. Yes, that's another way. Drone comb form below it, correct.
You just check that frame, that drone panel, which is white, and then just everything up and
That's correct. Cut it off
throw it away.
and destroy it. But the timing is critical though.
So it's 18,
It's 18 to 21 days, I think, is roughly. I never rely on my memory for dates and days much. I want to keep checking something.
Just to draw them out. Yeah, just so they draw out the wax, and then when you put them into the brood, then the queen will start laying. They'll make the return. Just grab it before they start putting honey in. If there's honey down there, they'll eat the honey and then she'll start laying.
bees ignore plain plastic generally.
Paintbrush and just a light coat.
I'm trying a little bit of a trial to see which is best. I've rubbed some and I'm painting some. But
And use a roller too, I think.
yeah, roll it on, yes. Yeah.
If you use a half height in a full deck box, will the bees not then build an ordinary comb underneath the drone foundation? So if you've got a half height and you've got drone foundation in that half height, then will the bees then just build ordinary comb for honey underneath that?
My understanding is they'll build drone comb.
Right now, they're wanting to build drone comb.
They're building it everywhere.
That's more of a cyclic thing rather than, they see that there's drone comb up there, therefore they'll replicate it down.
Well, that's why John's saying try and get them in now,
Yeah.
start of the season when they're looking to build and start making drones.
Yeah.
You get your drone comb in now, you're already set,
Right, okay.
and just freeze them,
Yeah.
feed them the chicken.
So then, would you, in a full deck box then, you'd use the full deck
Full deck drone comb.
Not a half height?
No, I wouldn't.
No,
No,
good.
you've got more drone cells,
Yeah, good.
better capacity. I say, eh?
One or two per hive.
Put in two, one on either side. The more lights you catch, the better.
The big thing is, don't let them hatch, then you just make a varroa. You're hatching varroa, you're just making varroa.
That's why timing is critical.
Hatching, breeding varroa. Timing is critical.
One other question, if I may.
Yeah.
When you're actually uncapping the drone cell, how do you actually do that? Because I've tried to uncap it. Sometimes it makes a big mess,
Yeah.
and you can't really see anything
Sometimes.
other than white stuff.
Sometimes they're too young, and
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
uncap them and they turn to goo. You pull half of them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep
So you
going.
just pull them out the cell.
Yeah, just put your comb just under the cappings
Yeah.
and just lever them and pull them out.
If
It'll-
Right,
they're
okay.
frozen solid
Yeah.
first, it does help.
Yeah,
Like if you freeze, as you said, freeze it for 48 hours and then uncap it immediately out of the freezer, and they're solid as they don't move.
Yeah.
Well, out in the farm, I'm just uncapping the seed
You're talking about uncapping drone brood in the hive.
in the
Yes.
yeah.
You can stick through the middle of the
The middle.
the cell,
Yeah.
lift it up. If they're too young to be mush, you might know, but you can't tell by looking at it.
No.
So, but the more you do, you get more of the intermediate sort of maturity, pink eye stage they talk about, and you'll see it that way.
Okay. Thank you.
And you definitely do see them. Like, is that up in the screen? Yeah. They are obvious. Like when I first saw the first one, it's like, is that the role? Or is it an eye? I think a member, David said he saw an eye.
Yeah. The eye was more round than that one, and I thought it was a varroa. So we went with the lot, and then I started to realise, hang on.
Any other questions?
How many roughly drones would you uncap to get a feel for?
The figure quoted is 100. Try and do 100 there, but you just when you see them, just your routine inspection, just get the fork and uncap it.
Yeah.
Do as much as you can. Yes, my word.
You'll get clusters of drones in there. Otherwise, you'll get one sporadically. Just really cluster. Still pretty different drones.
The drone uncapping is purely for identification or diagnosis, identify infestation. It's not going to be part of ongoing treatment of varroa.
Once you find them, then it's the treatment stage. Thanks, John. Any more questions?
So if I found varroa, I've got, say, 10 varroa hives.
So Lynn's got varroa. Everyone take her swarms to the roof.
What
if you've got. I'm going back to my trusty list. I like Baovol because it's not a heat temperature. 4 strips per hive, 6 to 8 weeks, which is a good time, and there's no withholding period on honey.
Got to check something else.
Nope. So Baovol. Yep. And that's what I mean. Make sure you check your list. It's on
So if it's less
less. I'd just be keep checking. But once you put Baovol in, it's going to last for months. Bayvorol.
If I may, there's one caveat to that. Be careful choosing your first chemical. Bavorol is rapid acting. Apivar is slower. Now, if your first infestation, you're above threshold, but it's not a heavy infestation, you want to try to avoid Bavorol and keep it for when you undoubtedly will get, with all the other hives around, infected and the feral bee colony is infected. You can end up with a very heavy infestation and you wish you had Bavorol available because it will bring down your mite load very quickly. But if you've used it once, you can't use it again for a year. So if you... Yes, we're trying to avoid getting resistance, and all the other countries have got it, and some of these chemicals are useless, they can't use them. But it's just something to keep in mind with your first infestation. Bavorol is good for a very heavy infestation.
Yeah, I think we've covered a fair bit on Varroa. I'd now like to invite Barry Wedrat. He's just going to show us his hive hinge system that he's using. So I've been talking to Barry about this for a while, and it's a great invention. Someone that's got, what are you running, Barry? 30? 100 hives. Barry uses it in 100 hives. So if you've got 2 or 3 hives, brilliant idea. It saves a lot of lifting, a lot of manual work, and it makes it actually really easy to check your bees for Varroa. So I'll pass it on to Barry.
Good morning. Just going to bring this over here for you. Just put it here on an angle about there. That's good. And the stand. Okay. My business is Palmwoods Honey. I've been up here before. I think I was up here last year jibber-jabbering on about breeding queens. But it's not only in just general brood work that we all have to do. Like at the beginning of the spring, we go into every one of our 100 hives and put in 2 brand new combs and take 2 old combs out. If you don't do that, you need to do that because that gives your queen a whole heap more fresh space to lay in, because every comb in your brood box has a use-by date where the bees will simply stop using them, and then your hive starts to get smaller and smaller. So that's one of the reasons. Obviously, going in, just check your brood in general, your queen's laying patterns to see the health of your hive. That's another reason. We simply all know we must do regular brood checks, meaning getting into the brood box. Now we have Varroa mite on top of it, and of course a lot of us are still in the testing phase, going in sampling. We simply cannot test every single 100 of the 100 hives we have. We do sample tests across most of our apiaries, so if we've got 20 hives in an apiary, we'd be testing probably 5 or 6 at a time, and then another different one. And so far, touch wood, we haven't, either in our Morayfield sites or Palmwood sites, we still don't have we haven't found any Varroa. We have to qualify that, don't we? But in the journey, I had seen Flowhive advertising a system where they you buy the $700 piece of equipment, and it's an elaborate looking thing, and then you fit it on to the back of your hive, and they could lift the hive box up, the honey super at the top up, and access the brood box without actually having to lift the brood box off. Find somewhere to sit it. Who knows the weight of a honey box when you need to get in your brood box? It's one thing to get it off. The second thing is, where do I put it? Do I stand it on its end, or do I have a spare space on my stand, or where do I put it? And then the next thing is, of course, after you finish your brood box, just stop that for a minute. He's high tech, this Grant, I tell you. Yeah, I know. I'll tell you. I know, mate. Good work. Let's give him a clap. Come on, he did a great job. So then, of course, once you've had your brood box off, you've done work in your brood. Your honey super off. You've done work in your brood box, and then, of course, you've got to lift that thing back up, and you've got to get it lined up straight. And you're terrified, or you're bothered about the fact that how many bees, you've got to smoke them to get them all down off the excluder, and you're thinking, how many bees am I going to kill just putting this honey super back on, and all these kind of issues. Who knows what I'm talking about? It's a real challenge. So I got to lift the box. He's sacked.
You can't get good help these days.
Okay. Why don't you just show the video? All right. So what I've got here is I developed this hive hinge system. I thought, well, the more we use it, we've been field testing this now in our 100 hives for over the last 3 months, doing all our Varroa tests and everything. And I keep thinking, why hasn't anybody else even thought of this idea? And secondly, people are saying, you should patent that, and you could make a lot of money out of it. No, I'm not going to patent it because it's too simple to reproduce. There's some complex parts of making it and making it, but some people could produce their own. If you wanted to do that, I'm just saying, absolutely go for it. But I have some of the equipment here. I have 5 sets of these stands with me, brand new ones, completely made up, that if anybody wants to buy one off me today, I brought them some up here. But I'm not up here primarily to sell stuff. I'm just here wanting to share the concept. So basically, we've got a hinge, and this is a 100 by 100 hinge. It's not a normal little narrow door hinge. It's a much larger hinge. I can talk about sourcing these hinges as well as we go further. I've only put one hinge on, and I'm lifting like 25, 30 kilo honey supers full of honey on that one hinge, and it's holding okay. You can put them on the wooden boxes, you can put them on the Nuplast boxes. Now, if you run triples, no matter what you do, you still got to lift the top one off, but you can still at least have your honey super directly above your brood box on a hinge. And there's a little spacer thing that you do when you're fitting them on the Nuplast boxes, but if anybody wants to know how to do that, I'm happy to give you that information as well. So basically, I'll just put the mic down. We've got this hive stand, which I've developed, and we've edited and changed it over time, and it's fully adjustable, telescopic. So the idea of this is that you want to line that top level where that's going to sit directly with that. So you crouch it down, put that up to there, set it out directly in front, tighten it up, and it's ready to go. So then, of course, we're using your normal efforts of separating with your hive tool, getting the box loose enough so you can lift it up off the excluder, and then you just simply stand it up like that. And it rests there. And believe you me, every time I do this I'm still stoked with the fact that I can then just completely work my brood box, do whatever I like, and I never have to worry about anything. Sometimes in the hot weather, the lid might fall off. You'll probably see that on the video. That's no big deal. I don't take the lid off the super, but if it falls off on the ground. But I've never ever, in the whole journey that I've been using it, had any frames fall out, any honey frames. They're just standing straight on their end. They're well waxed and propelised in, so you don't have a whole heap of frames falling out or anything like that. And that just rests there completely solid. Then when you've finished your brood work, you grab your excluder, put it back on. Bob's your uncle. And I'll tell you what, it really works. So there's variations. Okay, so maybe Grant, chuck up the video. So I've just got a short video of it actually operating in, it's on the Facebook page. Haven't you got Facebook open?
Yeah, I got Facebook.
come up. I haven't got any flow hives, but I imagine it would because it's still exactly the same, a wooden box that you can screw a hinge on to the front or to the back. You can get them at Bunnings. Sorry, I'm just answering one question here. You can buy the hinges at Bunnings, and also I've developed, and all this information I can also pass on to people if they want to later. There's one more little addition on the back of the hive. On the base of the hive of the brood box, I just grab one of these little brackets and I just screw that onto the wood of the base of your stand and the base of your box. That just stops the back of the brood box tilting at a certain point of leverage when you get the hive stand up. I found that necessary because if you've got a really heavy box of honey, just having the very back of your brood box secured to your stand, there's numbers of different ways you could do that, but just so the back of that can't lift, and then away you go. But right, so that's a certain requirement, and also the screws. I just use 30 mil to fit these onto your boxes. I just use a 30 mil galvanised screw. You can buy these in Bunnings. But once again, any of this information that anybody would like after today, I'm happy to email it to you, or you give me. Manuela, who works for me, is with me today. You can give us your phone number and we can text you the finer details of information on any of these extra details. We can also provide the whole kit for you if you want, and we can price that out to you and text you. If, for example, if you say, I've got 10 hives and I want to get the whole kit ready to go for my 10 hives or my 3 hives, there's obviously the stand, and then also there's the necessary amount of the hinges and the little screws that are necessary to get yourself fully functional. But yeah, I think that explains it. Oh, there's one other variation, sorry. If you want to, now obviously this is set up to have the stand directly in front, and yes, the bees are coming in. I've got them painted white, just so that my first original prototype was painted black. That wasn't a good idea. Yeah, so, but yeah, you could, it's all right, Grant, it doesn't matter. So if you wanted to, you could put the hinge on the back of the hive and then tilt it to the back, and then the bees are still able to come in. They still fly in and out even with the stand, with your super standing straight up. But if you were worried about that, obviously, there he is. Obviously, mostly we always work our hive from the back of the hive, don't we? We don't stand right in front of the hive where the bees are flying in and out. They're not real fans of that idea. So that's why I have the stand at the front, and then I'm still working behind at the back to get that done. Okay, so yeah, but if you really wanted to, you could put the hinge on the back and then just tilt it that way and then stand to the side and work your hive. So you could have it on the back or the front. That would be...
What about putting it on the side?
Well, then you'd have to have 2 hinges at least on the side because it's a lot more. But it's not... They're like $4 or $5 each a hinge. So you could do it on the side and tip it this way if you want to. There's variations of ideas that you could explore on that. But we have all of our hinges on the front of the box, and it works fine for us.
Tipping it to the side, would that potentially have nectar leaking out?
No, potentially that could be an issue actually, yeah, because your frames are then not standing on their end; they're laying flat. They would actually collapse. I wouldn't recommend that. No, but standing end for end, never had a problem at all. And we're lifting currently. We've been testing for varroa mite in sites this week, and we're lifting whole full boxes of honey on the stand, and they're just standing up fantastic.
Most wooden boxes are 20 mil thick with the 30 mil screws.
It does stick through a little bit, but you've got the thickness of the hinge, and they're probably sticking out in the old scale about 1/4 inch. If you're really worried, you could knock them off with a grinder, but I've got them, they don't hit the frames on the inside. So on my 100 hives, I haven't trim down any screws. But if you want to go back to a 20 mil screw, just you want to get a very good, strong galvanised screw to put in there. But I'm using 30s and I'm not having any problem.
And do you add the hinges while the bees in the hive, or do you have to do it empty?
Sorry?
Can you add the hinges while the bees are in the hive?
Absolutely, 100%. I just go there, I'm all suited up and just screw them straight on the front of the box while the hive's functioning. Never had a problem. Yes.
Well, when you've got your honey super standing vertically,
Yep.
do you lose anything out of your uncapped
No.
frames?
No. I've never had an issue there. I've never had a big inspection, but the honey's fairly inert, and so it's not, unless it's super runny, but the amount of time I'm in my brood box is still only short. I've never had an issue, but I'm not saying that potentially you could get a little get a tiny bit of drainage, but for me, I'm not bothered about that because I know the bees will just tidy that. But that I have not experienced any issues at this point in that respect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Believe you me, the moment you have that up there and you can just work your brood box without any dramas or any, and then this wonderful, it's still for me a wonderful moment when I can just reach over and just fold that down like a, and you just say, man, that's a good idea. I say that to myself, you know.
How do you manage 2 supers?
Well, if you've got 2 supers, I run 100 hives. I only ever have 1 super. I never have triples like some. You would obviously have to lift them all off anyway, so you could at least lift your top one off and still have a hinge on your bottom super. That's once again an issue. Some people have cleats across the top of their boxes for lifting. Obviously, you'd have to cut a bit out in your cleat to be able to let that sit flat and flush on your box. There's variations, obviously, but like I said, with the Nuplas boxes, we have a lot of Nuplas boxes as well as wood, and I figured out how to fit them perfectly onto the Nuplas boxes as well. It's not that complicated.
What about the excluder when you're working out the way?
Well, I just lift the excluder off just like if I lifted the honey box. When I screw it on, the excluder's already there, so it's already adjusted for that. And even with a little bit of up and down variation, it makes very little difference because the size of the hinge, yeah, I just screwed them straight on the front and they work absolutely fine. You just fold it straight back down on the excluder. Yeah, good questions, all of them.
What was the use of that little angle bit again? I didn't get that.
Oh,
What was that for?
this one.
Yeah.
So come back up after it and you'll just see at the very back of the box, I've just got that little angle to screw the back of the hive onto the stand just to secure the base of the brood box so it can't lift. With the shift of the weight here, sometimes the back of a brood box might lift a little bit, especially if you've got a big overhang on the front of the box over the stand. I used to just pull them right back on the stand so the leverage points were different, but after a while I got sick of that. Now I've gone round and just put a little angle piece like that, 2 screws, one into the box, one onto the stand, and the back of the box can never lift up anymore. And you've got that extra peace of mind, nothing's going to fall over. Yeah. I've never had, in all of our 3 months of using these, I've never had anything let go, fall over, lost the whole honey box onto the ground or anything like that. If you've got this set up properly, it just sets out. Because most of the weight of your honey box sits on your stand and it just rests there totally. But you've got to make sure the ground at the bottom is just smoother. You can use the base of the stand a bit like a bit of a rake and just get that sitting nice and flat. Make sure your stand is nice and flat. Make sure you've got the stand height here exactly at the level of the hinge or slightly lower, but generally exactly horizontal, vertical works absolutely fine. Okay.
So you only really got to buy one stand?
You only need one stand. Like we've got 100 hives, we have one stand to operate. Just carry them around in my truck and I just go around. And if you're on a common stand with 5 hives, you find you have to adjust them very little for all the hives on that stand because they're all on the same height off the ground. But if you've got a number of different heights, it's very quick and easy to just adjust the telescopic top part of the stand to suit that particular hive uniquely.
regards to triples, could you just not put another hinge up top, maybe on the other side, so you know,
Oh, I wouldn't recommend it. I think if you go on the way of triples, you're already committed yourself to the back-breaking effort of having to get them up and down. Get this, my main motivation of developing this was all the back-breaking work of lifting supers on and off, which has increased significantly with all the discussions we've been having already. Check your hives regularly for Varroa. You know, even once you know you've got Varroa, then you still got to check and be putting strips in and all the extra workload that we're all thinking, man, this is going to be heaps of extra work. So that was my primary motivation. With so much more work to do, why not make it easier? So.
When you rob your honey soup, you've only got one on.
Yeah.
Do you lift all the frames out individually, or?
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like when I do a normal rob, yeah. The hinge system has nothing at all to do with when I rob.
I just take the whole rob.
Oh, you can do that if you wanted, but you'd have to have... I don't see the point of that because I have crates. I don't take every frame away. I take away the frames I want to take away and I put them in sealable crates and I take them away like that. So I don't ever take my top boxes away or take them home or anything like that. That's just too much work for me to do that in my situation. It may have worked for you.
So Barry, I've got Varroa and I'm
Yeah.
out vaping. So that stand will go down enough to put my vape machine on it
Well,
to the entrance.
you could even do that, yeah.
So it's a double.
You could use it to put, yeah,
It'll lower down, so put my vape in the front, or the back. Yeah.
you can put your vape machine right on the front of there, buddy. I never even thought of that because I haven't got Varroa yet. So but that would work perfectly. You could put your Instavap straight on there and just shoot. You don't have to hold it and don't have to have it resting on the little pipe. Great idea, mate. You're an ideas man, Grant.
what's a vape machine?
Well, if you want a vape, do you?
You do that from the tobacco?
Oxalic acid vaporization, I'm sure everybody knows by now. In the parallel universe between what's law and what's practical, most beekeepers are in the parallel universe of using oxalic acid strips and vaporization. And, yeah.
But anyway, you can put your strips in, it's going to be
Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Well, you just need to have, that's more your stand positioning and development. I've just brought this particular stand as a make-up, this is not a normal stand of mine. But if you have slide-out trays underneath, obviously that you've got that functioning according to that. You just have to work out a different way of securing the base because it's a little bit higher off the stand. Just a bigger bracket really to get it up a bit higher. Yeah. Okay.
And you've got a few today.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of these here, if anybody wants one. I'm selling these for $80 each. I've done a lot of work developing it. But if anybody wanted to buy one and then go ahead and do all the other bits and pieces, I'm happy to instruct you and help you exactly everything you need to just get your hinges, how to get them, where to get them, the right screws. The little spaces we use on Nuplas boxes, we'll give you our... we've got a number of our cards here. We're happy to help you on that journey of if you want to fit everything yourself or you want to source the other bits yourself. We're happy to provide at just the minimal cost the extra bits and pieces, the hinges and the screws. If you would want to go that way, we're happy to help you with that. We're just being open-minded about it. I'm not doing this to try and make a lot of money, but in having a few stands here today, when I got them made up, I thought I might as well get a bunch of them made up because I've already had friends down further south that have already wanted one and got one off me and all this kind of thing. So I'm here basically wanting to share this idea with you and not try to own it and control it and make a lot of money out of it or anything like that. I see this as a simple gift to you. If this can help you, here it is. That's it. Well, you would just contact us. We're at Palmwoods. That's where that's where my business is based. So people could pick. If you ordered one, we could certainly pick one up. But I have some here today, of course. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Any more questions? Right.
So you're going to stick around for a while?
I'll stick around for a bit, and if you want one, I think I've got 5 here. But if you did want one later on, you could easily just contact us, and we can easily get it. Yeah.
No, that's a new
How
place.
do you do that on the
Okay, sure. So, in one case, you're screwing them on the bottom. So if that's a brood box and you've got a spacer, your razor. So if they just, I put one, I drill a hole through there and put it right into that centre hole, and then I have spacers. I make up little spacers, like that, and that goes in there. See that between there, and then it screws straight through. One on there, one on there, and the other two just go straight in there, and that works fine. But on this one, I just screw 2 on there, and 1 and 2 straight through, and they hold it. I've got little spaces for using. It's hard to see, just a little aluminium tube cut to size, and that just bridges the gap between these various profiles on the U Plus boxes. But I put them on probably 50 U Plus boxes, and they hold with the little spaces. They work perfectly. Yeah. And the hinge just goes, and that just fills up that gap, so it's not bending the hinge. Yes, straight through there, yeah. And it works fine. That's how I do it. Other people may have a different idea, like putting a piece of wood in behind to make a single space of the full width. There's variations of all those things. But once again, some of those bits and pieces are a little bit more complex in just explaining and then remembering. But we're happy to help you if you decide you want to go down that way. We're happy to help you with all those extra little details of fitting them to your particular box. But wooden boxes are just simple. You just go there, get your screwdriver, battery drill, screw it straight on. And if you got a wooden box and you got one of these, you're away straight away. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Sorry.
I can't imagine why anybody ever.
Well, I think Flow Hive has, but they're a couple $100. So Flow Hive have got a system like that, but they're a couple $100. So Barry's, yeah, $700. No, Flow Hive. Barry's got the stands for $80 and a couple of hinges, $5, less than $100. Oh well, $100 for your first one, and then it's $10 per after. It's only your hinges. Yeah, that's right. You're only buying your hinges for your second sequentially after that.
Every hive needs a hinge.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
This is your biggest gap load. That. And I know people can get one of them made up themselves, but they're already making them, but that's up to them.
Between time, labour and materials, $80 is well worth it.
Oh,
Well worth it, yeah. Right, Barry, thank you.